let's talk about how to get paid to say no as an interior designer using AI. And we're gonna do that in the lens of a couple of things. One is an AI workflow for communication that you might be putting off, and then how that can turn into referral revenue in a particular case. This build that we're doing, that I'm gonna show you, it started with a temptation with one of the operators who we support in interior design, and she handles every inquiry that comes into the business. She decides who's a fit and who isn't. And this business, this design business, is clear about who they want to work with, but every new inquiry that isn't a good fit is still a temptation because the work is there. They could probably squeeze this person in, and in this case, it feels rude to the operator to say no. She doesn't want to let people down. She wants to make sure that they are still served and helped, but it takes time to think about what to say, and it's easy to put off. And so the idea with this build is that it helps her hold the line to her own standards, and that is important, especially when you're busy and maybe it's been a long week and it's hard to say no. But there's an opportunity here too that I think is worth mentioning, because the prospect still needs help, even if this firm doesn't help them. But the firm probably knows someone who is a good fit. This operator does. And so this disqualification text can do two things. It can get that person help with the right designer who you know, and then it can make sure that you also get a referral fee out of it, which is obviously a great thing. But in order for this to work, you need stuff to be in place. You need context in place so that this is an easy system to run, and you can just use it the way I'm about to show you. So just to give you some background, you need instructions. This tells the AI what to do and how to use the resources you're going to include along with the instructions. Next, you need a file that defines this is who's qualified and who isn't. This is our ideal client, because this is going to get used to create the text. And then next, you need something to guide the style and the language in the message itself. Because again, this is about generating a disqualification text automatically for the operator. And then if you want this referral play to be in place, you need a list of referrals, probably in the form of, this is this person's name, this is who is a good fit for them, and then this is their contact info. And we can actually dig into our files in a second. And then an optional piece, you may find that you need it. It depends on how good your examples are in the brand voice doc, because you'd want examples of, in this case, the operator, how they text, have example texts. Depending on how close those texts are to this situation, you might need to add example disqualification texts. Now, there are a couple of ways to package it. One is as a project, and that's going to be easier to set up, but the downside is you have to go into that project to use it. Whereas if we package this as a skill, then what you can do is anytime you're in your app for AI, we use Claude Desktop. Anytime you're in Claude Desktop, for example, you can just invoke this skill by saying, hey, I have somebody I think I may need to disqualify. Can you help me decide if they are qualified or not? And then write a message. You wouldn't have to probably write a prompt that long, but AI would look through its little inventory of skills and be like, oh, we got to use this one, the disqualification skill here. And you could just use it anywhere. So it's more flexible, but it's a little bit more advanced and a little bit less intuitive. So let me first show you the project-based approach. So I am in a project that I've created, and in this project, you can see that we have instructions here. And I just use the same instructions for the skill. You wouldn't need this part right here that says when to use this skill. With a project, it always knows use these instructions. So this is the relevant part right here where it says, hey, take a look at the reference files. They're important. Identify what the disqualification criteria are. And if a referral is a match, here's how you pick them. Here's how you draft the text. And in addition to these instructions, we have files that support them and files that are referenced in the instructions. So we have our brand voice document. Down here, we have some example texts that we're going to reference. And then we sharpened those with some decline texts that are aligned with the voice of the operator. And then we have the ideal client defined here. And then we have this referral list. And these are placeholders. These are actually fake. I just made these so that we could test this project and skill. And then we're going to actually find real designers and plug them in. But I'm going to have to work with the designer and the operator to find those folks. So anyway, this is the whole project. It's got these files that are referenced by the instructions. And to clarify, I refine the instructions and the decline texts iteratively over a couple of tests, because it's very rare in these situations that something works out perfectly right away. But let's run this test. It's for a real inquiry. So I'm not even gonna include a lot of preamble, so you can see this is really easy to use. You just say, hey, I got a new one. Claude is gonna do some thinking and then issue a verdict around qualified or disqualified and create a text. You can see it reading ideal client, referral list. It's loading up the example decline text and pulling those into the context of this chat from the project, because it's only going to pull in the context that is relevant to each chat. That's kind of an important thing to know. In this case, we've created it in a way that makes it so that all this stuff is relevant, but you could see them appearing here in the side and here in the list of what it has read so far. Okay, perfect. We have the text. We have some notes. The notes include the fact that this guy is disqualified. Here's why. Here's a referral who could be a good fit. And then here are some areas where the prospect is potentially a fit. So if we look at the message, it says, hi, Patrick, this is Dakota with 1584 Design. Thank you so much for reaching out. Congrats on the new place. And what's cool here is that AI is doing a good job of replicating Dakota's style, because it's rare for people to write text in perfect sentences. And this is like technically not grammatically correct to have the comma here and then this clause afterwards, but it's believable and it's real and it's aligned. So we want that. This is a good thing that we're seeing here. It sounds like you're ready to invest in pieces that actually last and feel right. This is awesome. This is telling the prospect that Dakota is listening, because she is echoing what he has said in his message, but not echoing it literally, but echoing the core idea. We don't take on primary residences though. We focus on second homes and short-term rentals. So it's letting him know we can't help him and here's why. Again, this piece referencing the master and great room, this is cool because it is referencing his text, which makes this feel real. Because if you just send someone a generic text, it's easy for them to feel dismissed and for it not to be as useful to them. Here we have the referral recommendation and the reason for this recommendation. Specifically, this person does primary homes. And then we endorse the referral's ability without saying she's definitely going to be a fit for you. And then here's the contact info. And then Dakota always is really gracious in her communication and includes really positive sign-offs. So it looks like that came through also, which is great. So I'm going to run this by the operator now that we have this in place, and she may have some feedback that will motivate us to dial this in. The easiest way to dial it in would be to ask her to write a couple of these disqualification texts, gently letting people down and then making a referral recommendation. Those would be the biggest bang for our buck because the examples are huge. Right now we have some synthetic examples that I created based on patterns I've seen in unrelated texts that are for different situations. So that would be the next step if we had to refine this. But this is what it looks like to run this in a project. It's super simple. You would just go to the project, say, I have a new inquiry, here it is, and this is what you get as a result. And you know, before I show you the skill, I want to show you what this can evolve into and tell you why I think you shouldn't start there. What this can evolve into is actually something that's very automated, where a new inquiry comes in and automatically AI qualifies it. And if they're qualified based on the criteria you give it, then it creates a message that tries to get the prospect to schedule a call. That would be aligned with this particular client's, this particular design studio's process, but it could be something else. But if they're not a good fit, then the referral message gets drafted. And when either one of the messages gets drafted, we could have this pipeline in the background that creates a link that can be texted to the operator that says, hey, you got a new inquiry. We think that they're probably not a good fit for these reasons. Here's a message you can send. And that message is a link. And when the operator taps on that message, it loads up her messaging app on her phone with the prospect's phone number already entered as the destination. And then a personalized message already drafted inside of the messaging app so that she could just make a couple of tweaks or look at it and then send it. And so that would be the fully automated version. I'm going to show you the skill in a second, but the reason that you might not want to do that is that it might not be warranted. Sometimes you can get 80% of the way there really quick, like with the project I showed you, and not build additional stuff. And you might be like, this is good enough, I'm gonna work on different things. But if you notice after using it for a while that there's enough friction to justify automating it more, do it then. But often, I'm telling you, there isn't. Often the simple version is enough, and you move faster when you resist the urge to overbuild. So with that said, let me get into the demo with the skill, and that's gonna show how you can use this anywhere inside of Claude Code, not just a project. So if we go over to Claude Desktop again, and I'm in the code section now, because the way skills work is if you want to just test them, you kind of have to be in this code section versus cowork, because in cowork, you have to take this extra step that takes a skill and packages it as a plugin, otherwise it can't see it. But when you're dealing with the Claude code section, you can just have the skill, which is just like a set of instructions and maybe some reference files. This stuff that you saw in the project that I made, all that basically just goes into a folder inside of, it's specially named so Claude knows it's just for skills for the project. If you just stick that stuff in the folder, then if you're running code, it'll just work. Like here, let me show you. What you can see here is that the AI has figured out which skill to use, loaded it up, and then created a very similar message. Yeah, very similar message and basically identical verdict without us having to go into a project. So same result, different section in Claude Desktop. Arguably, you can say that this is easier. You just have to remember what skills do I have, whereas with a project, you can kind of see what your projects are. So that's a skill, super easy to create. I literally just had to move those files over into a folder that told Claude this is for a skill, and I did it with AI. So both of these are pretty simple versions. I want to emphasize that when you're trying to solve a problem with AI, as always, make sure it's the right problem, but then what's the fastest way that you can solve the problem? What's the low-hanging fruit? What's the 80% solution here? And no matter what solution you choose, this gives you things that are really good for your business. I mean, this specific example is not a big deal. This is not an enormous task for an operator to say no to somebody and then refer them out. But hopefully you can see how the same sort of approach applies to a bunch of situations. But even if it's just marginal, this saves you time. Even if communication takes you 30 seconds to a minute, it can be surprising, at least in my own life, how draining it can be to have these open loops and these things that I'm putting off and that I feel uncomfortable about doing. Third, what this does is it enforces the process that is already in place for, in this case, who you choose to work with. And that discipline can actually save you quite a bit of time, because if you agree to the wrong project, man, that can suck all kinds of resources away from a job that could make you a lot more money and kind of be within your wheelhouse more cleanly. And then finally, this can create real income. If your lead flow is high enough and you don't have really aggressive filtering so that people slip through who aren't a fit, if you have a smooth process for handing them off, then you can make non-negligible income from this very simple play. And what all these things add up to is capacity. And when you have more capacity, you can get new business by generating new demand, do marketing, sales, whatever, and you can serve more of the demand you already have. You can increase your ability to fulfill on the demand you have. And those are the main things that you always want to be working on in your business. It's I don't have enough leads, let's get more. I have more business than I can handle. Okay, let's work on increasing our capacity to fulfill so that we can take this surplus set of leads or appointments or whatever and turn them into cash flow, turn them into closed projects. So the takeaway here is that any communication that you're tempted to put off, you can make it a lot easier and faster with AI when you have the right pieces in place, only when you have the right pieces in place. And it doesn't just save you time when you do this, it saves you energy, and sometimes it saves you money or makes you money. And so all of this together frees you up to pursue the things that actually grow the business, or if you're an owner who has an operator, it frees them up to work on the things that matter the most in the business.